Jesus. So I'm just all right, that should do it. Yep. Oh, really? See that guy right there with the glowing eyes? All right, I'm going to restrain myself. Hey, D'Angelo. Okay, so the question is, what goofy thing can I do? Oh, I've got an idea. Watch this. All right, so actually, I'm going to do a quick house cleaning, and that looks like this. Sort chest. So what I'm doing is I'm basically moving everything to my storage. I don't need to do that. Okay. Now, I put any copies back. I'll hold on to the second one of those because why not? I have 2 rotten great axe 25s. That's crazy. How did I end up with that? Oh well. Okay. Ugh. Hold on. Okay, those are the same thing. Those are the same thing. This is a weirdly good helmet, by the way. Hold on, let me finish the helmets, and then I'll show you. The funny thing is that it's in a... You're gonna feel... When I show you, you're gonna feel dumb. Sorry, Zoe, I totally missed. I'll show you. Give me just a sec. Let me finish this, what I'm working on. Okay. So, it's at any grace. You don't have to be at the round table, but when you go to the grace, sort chest is what you want to do. Ah. Do you feel silly for not knowing that? Traveling maiden, finger maiden. Do 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 do. I'm just looking for duplicates. Sanguine Noble, Sanguine Noble, Unspa. Alright. Ah. Hold on. Crucible axe, crucible tree. Crucible tree. Wait. Axe, tree, altered. Okay. That's... No. Two. soiled loincloth. Ew. Almost done. Well, almost done with this part anyway. Oh, wait. Freya. Oh, royal remains. All-knowing. Malformed. Alright, check this out.
Now.
I actually would rather not. At least Marco. Yeah, sorry, I don't usually watch Twitch. Yes, I see your chats. I've been playing this game since it came out. However, this particular character, I've been playing for a few weeks. I do, and I'm not interested in artwork. In case that's where this was going. Most days. Although I have things in life that I have to take care of, so when that happens, obviously I don't stream those days. There will be in 2 weeks I will be away and not streaming, for example. Honestly, it's not even worth selling this stuff anymore. It's more just about cleaning out my bank. 300,000. I just wish there was an easier way to do what I'm doing right now. Ash of War. Undo. Now I can go back and sell it.
Now.
Wait a minute. Let me see something real quick.
Now.
Yeah, it won't let you sell ashes, which is a bummer. Hey, Ribble. Alright. For a brief moment, I'm going to do something goofy. Sword chest. Let's see. I will get the usual suspects back in inventory. You. I'll leave you there. Alright. I think that I have been successful with this, doing this with a Solitude set. Let me see if I can do it this time. Alright. Let's see. Weapons. I don't want that. That could be fun. I always want to carry those. Where is it? I always want you. That's the one I wanted. Moonveil. Oh, I don't have the int. That's funny. Don't have the int. Alright, so you, medium load. You, holy moly. With 203 I can't get to light load. I bet you I'm close though. I am. I might be 1 or 2 points away, actually. That's kind of a bummer. I've, this character I've been playing for a couple months. So for bleed, okay, you're asking a good question. The answer I think is more complicated than you might realize. You can do a bleed without a weapon that inherently has bleed. That's what Ashes of War are for. For example, what do I have? For example, the Misery Cord, you don't even have to give it one of these bleed capabilities, right? I could give it, let's say I wanted to give it, Sword Dance. I could give it a bleed, and it's got bleed build up of 115, right? So now, if I go to... I'm just going to a basic area, and I'm using Misery Cord just to... I'm actually curious to see what this does. Here we go. Misery Cord. So that's considered to be a dance move, I guess. I think these guys are going to die too quickly. See, that was a bleed burst. If you once you have the ability to put the bleed aspect on it. It's not called aspect. What's it called? Affinity. If you can put a bleed affinity on something, you get bleed. The question becomes is, how good are you at applying that bleed and whether or not it makes sense for the weapon that you have. So, but that's where what you're looking at is this blood loss buildup. The thing is that this is a per hit item. So, for example, if I can get a weapon like this. Hold on, sorry. Here we go. These axes, I can put an Ash of War. I can even go with a Bleed Heavy Ash of War. No, I can't. There's no Bleed Heavy Ash of War available for it. So I could put, for example, Royal Knight's Resolve Blood on it. And now I've got a blood loss buildup of 169. It's a huge amount. The problem is that the weapon... The problem is the weapon's slow, right? So I'll eventually build up bleed. There, the second hit, I had enough bleed built up on him. But by the time the bleed built up, he was going to die just from the hit, right? So each axe hit on these guys, and I'm high level, they're low level, so don't misunderstand. So, right, that's more than half his health. Bleed or not, that hit would kill him. Would kill him. Oh, this dude's big. So, what you really want is an item that, if you're going for a bleed build, you want an item that's really good at chunking out bleed fast. So there are items that are particularly good at that. For example, I'm actually going to purposefully use a very low-level item, one that I don't have powered up, I should say. So if you go down to, for example, the various, here we go, these guys, the hook claws, for example. Or, what's another one? Rivers of Blood is not upgraded. So, let's see, claws, Rivers of Blood. So these are, what I've done is I purposefully picked a low-level item so I get very little damage from the hits. So these hit very fast, right? So as I'm doing the hits with these, it's going to build up a lot more blood. Now, each hit is only building up 60 blood, but it's going to hit a whole lot more. So there's the blood hit, right? So the axe, it's like thunk, thunk bleed. This is like chink, 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 chink. Or Rivers of Blood, where you use, there's the blood, right? There's the blood. So it does a ton more bleed buildup. Oh, good luck, Anthony. Sorry. I know, that can be really frustrating. So, one of the ultimate keys for doing a blood build is you want to make sure that you're using something, if you're reliant on the blood as the bleed and the snap as what's going to do the damage, if that's your reliance, then you want to make sure that you get an item that does that. I would actually recommend that you go with an item that does double down stuff. So if, for example, you look at the hook claws already do bleed, right? So I could actually pick a frost, and now it's going to do blood. It does less blood, but it still does blood buildup, but it also does frost buildup. You can't do this with Rivers of Blood. Rivers of Blood, it's a somber. You can't Ash of War it. But this one you can. So now you'll notice, and again, I'm picking an item that's not leveled up, so the damage I do. So if you watch, right, that was a frost buildup, and there's a blood buildup. Each one of those, so the frost buildup, when it actually builds up, boom, you get an extra damage hit, but then it also makes them vulnerable, and they take more damage from everything else. And so the, yeah, Blasphemous Blade's the best item in the game. I think that's a pretty easy argument to make. Yeah, and there are great choices for bleed builds. One of the most powerful choices is actually Anspur Rapier. So this, unfortunately, is going to kill these guys really fast. But the advantage to this one is if you're using a shield... hold on, am I carrying any shields? Yeah. So if I'm using a shield, I can hide behind the shield while I attack. See, I still get the block of the shield while I'm stabbing with it. And this gives me the ability to not only build up blood, but also build up rot. Now the problem is this weapon's empowered, so these guys are just going to die really fast. And there was a blood hit in that third stab. But the... I'd need a more powerful creature. Actually, I may have an easy one to get to. We'll see. These guys may die pretty quick too, but they're at least a little bit tougher. Yeah, that was a bleed hit. It's going to be the same thing with these guys. Maybe the ones with the shield will be more... Oops. Yeah. I need something that's significantly more powerful. But eventually, I'll build Rot up on the mob. Yeah, and I'm not even... Like, all I have is weight talismans right now. Let's see. So the build that I was going to play with, actually, let me go back and sort chest, because I'm going to need something slightly lighter. Oh, these are all lighter. This may actually be enough. Let me see. Nope. Try it with a young. Whoops. Good lord. Oh, that's why. Hold on. Alright, it's a little goofy looking. But, watch this. Oh, hold on. I want to add... Where is it? This. And I want to add... this. Watch this. So first, but what we really want is this. Ah. Oh, I was purposefully wearing much heavier armor. I can do much better. Oh yeah. So you've set up just to do massive DPS. Totally understandable. Yeah, I go the other direction. I'm just not good enough at dodge. If I really wanted to go kind of nuts with this build, what I would do instead is this. Hold on. Sort chest. Hold on. Let me get back to these. Oops. And then that, and then want a little bit of actual survivability. So this should easily be light load. Let's see. Yep. And this is crazy. Oh, hold on. So it does a huge amount of damage. I didn't pop the buffs on to go with it, but it does a huge amount of damage. One thing though that doesn't look right is this. If I Okay, so doing that gave me the empowered attack power, right? But do you get that same thing? Yeah, you do. Off the edge. So the catch is that if you get hit, it breaks that dance, which is what sucks. It'd be nice if you could maintain the dance. That way you can kill stuff. Problem is, the moment that they break your dance, you stop having the ability. I wanted to try to do a dance build where I had heavier armor, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. They just bust poise really fast. Now, I could also add... Oh, here we go. Hold on. Thrown knives. This one, and right now it's set to poison. I don't want poison. I don't even want that. Let me think. Oh, yeah, no. Where's the thrown? There's a specific knife. There we go. Scattershot throw. And I want bleed. Watch this. Oops. Watch this. This is so much fun. Isn't that crazy? Honestly, so as weak as parts of this build are, I did a whole playthrough like this, except I did it with heavier armor, because I could. But man, that was fun. Honestly, this build was a hell of a lot of fun to play. It was just goofy as F. Actually, that's true. Yeah, in the DLC, it was definitely harder. But it wasn't impossible. So let's see. What I will do is... Right, I'm going to want you. I'm going to want you. And then all the way down here, I'm going to want you. You. Oh, you know what I forgot? I wanted to get... Nope. Black Knife. Death Knight. Oh, I forgot to grab those over here too. Death Knight. Hood, there we go. Alright. Oh, you. Mushroom. That's for the Rot Lake if I'm going to do that again. It's handy to have that. Black Knife. Death Knight. And there we go. Alright, now I can go... Hold on. A couple more things. Chest, we want to go back over here. Want to carry the buckler. I'm going to carry those two shields. And... oh, axes. Alright. Weapons. Got my thrown knife. I've already got plasma. Hold on. Looking to see what I have now. Oh, I don't even want you. Or you. Or you. What's this? Horned warrior sword? Weird. Alright. Malekith. I carry a lot more weapons around. Let's see. You. Okay. A blade. Alright. Death Knight twin axes. Stormhawk axe. And then there's the... Where is it? Hold on. Thinking stuff through. You... It's handy to have that available. Dragon. There we go. Alright, check this out. Sorry. Where do you find the Blackbird's armor? Wait, when you... Blackbird's armor, you mean the... Raptor's Black Feathers, this one? Is that the one that you're asking about? Or the Gravebird's Black Quill Armor? This one? Or this one? This one. I don't remember. The only thing there, I know that there's a set of bird armor in the DLC that's in a weird place, like up here or something, maybe. I think I'm remembering that. It's like up, maybe it's up in here or up in here. I think it's up here. There's a set of armor, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up. Axe. Hold on. I want to look at Stormhawk. And that's funny. That goes to medium load. I'm not going to carry all those axes, so for the moment I'll go with medium load. So... that's interesting. Huh. Now that's not as cool looking as this one. Hold on. This one's not doing what I thought it would. Hold on, I'm being confused. Oh, it's probably because I don't have a target. Hold on. So these axes have a crazy attack. Problem is, I find it to be very not good. I'm confused why. There it is. Yeah. So this has this crazy cool looking attack. I don't think it's very good though. It's this. It looks awesome. It's not very good. At least I haven't found it to be very good. And then, let's see. This one has a crazy attack too. Has that one. So the lightning attacks all look really cool. The problem is I don't know if this armor helps them or not. So this, let me go back to Death Knight Twin Axes. Uh-oh. Why is it not? It's not, I don't know why, but it's not doing the skill attack, even though I'm telling it to. It's weird. Oh yeah, well, Bolt to Grand Sex, I would just use that. But yeah. Let me see. And then... yeah, it's around that. The problem is that it makes you very vulnerable to attacks, I think. What I wanted to try is whether or not the armor helped. So let me go back to the Death Knight Twin Axe. The question is, does the Death Knight armor set actually make the Death Knight Twin Axes better? So that last number was 1327, 1229. $1327, $1229. All right. $1306. Ah. 13. It doesn't look like it actually increases the damage, which is ironic, because the armor definitely helps with some stuff. Oh, you know what else? Hold on. I've got... here. This will be a little bit cleaner test. In fact, let's go back here. That's the thing. I don't know, right? Because we're not seeing each hit. We're seeing the sum of all the hits. But in one set of attacks, I may miss with one of the axes. And there's not really any way to know. Right? See, that time I only hit with a few hits. And so the question is there a way to guarantee that I always strike the same number of times? And I don't know that there is. All right, so this is with, like this. 966. Do another test with this guy here. $966. All right, well, that duplicated bodes well for it being at least a decent test. Let's get this guy up. Hey, dude. $1042. All right. Let's go back. Well, but again, I agree. The problem is that I would still have to know that I hit the same amount of times. You know what I mean? 1125. $1125. That bodes well for the armor working on these. And I didn't have him targeted that time, so that didn't count. Let's get this guy instead. Yeah, it seems to be. So if we take... What was it before? 960? 960 plus 96, which would be 1060 for 957, 1056. Yeah, that checks. 10% armor, 10% damage increase. Is that what these give? Ah. Or is it 2% per piece? I think the full set's maybe 10%, give or take. So it looks like the armor does help. So if I was going to do a build with these... Oh, now here's an interesting idea. got plenty of stones. Do I have... Yep, I've got the runes to upgrade as well. Here's an interesting thought experiment. All right, check this out. What if... Trying to think of a good place to find something with decent hit points. Good night, Anthony. Have a good one. Hey, believe me. Where's gonna be... I have a thought. Did I kill this dragon already? I did. What a wholesome stream. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for the share. Appreciate that. There should be some trashy dragons through here. Oh, hold on. Now, let's not go too crazy. So, we want to crank lightning. We want to crank my defensiveness. And we want to crank skill attacks. Why not? Let's just not even have a shield. May as well have a shield. Can't hurt, right? There's a dragon. Why won't it? Here we go. Oops. Eesh. So this is the weapon that Nephili Lu uses, and dragons are really bad big body bosses to play with on the ground. What I was trying to do... here we go. Oh, hold on. Hold on. That's not actually what I was trying to do. I haven't used an offhand caster thing in a while. When you say climb the castle, you mean Fort Feroth over here? Yeah, I've been up there. It's where I got the other half of the medallion. Yeah, dragons are not good for this test, unfortunately. Holy cow. Yeah. This thing just does not do much damage. It's really what it boils down to. But honestly, this doesn't do much better. Watch this. No. Okay, would you please... Like, I swear to God, it's doing exactly the only thing I'm not telling it not to do. So what's crazy is the throwing knives actually do more damage than the axes do. That's what I actually find to be crazy. I'm not sure I want to fight two of these guys. Hell, why not? Let's do it. Ah, I mistimed the jump for the roll. I'm telling you, these throw knives are fun. I don't know what to tell you. They're just fun. But there's no reason for me to use this armor with him, is the thing. But they're a ton of fun. Yeah, I was thinking of trying the dancer thing again, but it's just too fragile. It really is. And none of these, by the way, none of this was useful for... I mean, these were good defense for not dying if the dragon hit me, but I wasn't doing any lightning damage. There's not... I wonder... The problem is... If I want the bleed, I need lightning, right? Can I put this on there? Yeah. Problem is... Actually, that's a testable thing. In fact, it's testable on this guy right here. Alright, query. How much damage? Oh. No, let's do this. I want a clean test. So, 260. $183. Ow! Forgot to two-hand him. Ah! Uh-oh. So technically, this is the only truly throwable weapon. There are weapons that have a throw attack, but this is the only one that is a purely thrown weapon. Every attack with it is a thrown attack except a backstab. Because that wouldn't really make much sense for it to not be for it to be thrown. This is the Smith script daggers. I have lightning on them right now. But Smith script dagger. So here's the question. There are two things. One is this augmenting the damage that the daggers do? So there are other weapons that have a thrown attack. Oh, I don't have them on me. What are they called? The, one of these backhand blades. These guys. I think one of these has a thrown attack. Curse blade. I'll try that in a sec. Oh yeah, there are sure. Mesmer Spear has an attack that's a thrown. Hold on. 100. Oh, that's the. By the way, that's the other thing. The range damage of these guys is actually pretty significant. So notice 94, 92, 96, but then if I'm up here... $111. It's very ranged. Oh my god, stupid. It was attacked by a dragonfly, for crying out loud. Look at this, I can't even hit the damn guy. No, thank you. Ow! Another one? No. Stupid dragonfly. I got 2 dragonflies attacking me. What the hell? Sorry. So, I thought this had a thrown attack. Maybe it's... Oh, Smith Strip Cirque. This one might. Yeah. Alright, so this has a thrown attack. But it also has a... So this is the light attack, is thrown. This is the heavy attack. Excuse me. Heavy attack is thrown. This is a heavy. Interesting. Yep, so here's the heavy attack. Interesting. I wonder how much damage this guy does. One way to find out. Let me grab, before I forget, I'll grab Mesmer's spear. Sword chest. Spear of the Impaler, that's the one. Oh, 445 or 448 or something like that. Wait. Wait. Do I already have the... Oh, those are already cranked up to max. Whoa. Never mind that. Go. Ash of War. And this one does not have scatter shot. That's interesting. The scatter throw would be awesome for this weapon, but it's not an option. So what would be another one of interest? on, let me go back to where I was. That was an interesting mob to test with. Alright. So first, the Smith script curb sword thing. Whatever these are. Oh, alright. Thrown weapon. Multi-hit. Nope. I wanted that one. I got to admit, that's interesting. It's a little slow for my taste. But that is an interesting thing. So, Mesmer's, this is the throne. There's a slow throw, and then a fast throw. And then, of course, this is the... That's the moveset. That might be an interesting weapon to do a playthrough on, actually. That's interesting. I prefer the Smith script dagger thrown action. I think that's a more interesting way to go. Let's see. Holy cow. It is like a cool effect, but it is so slow. I mean, the thrown attack only does like 171 damage for just a straight regular throw. That's not very much. Does this even... I want to check, see if this even has an effect. So there's a talisman specifically for thrown weapons. I want to see if it has any meaningful effect, but 171 seems really low. 187, 125, 130. Oh, 539. Weird. Oh, that was a headshot. 508, 560. What's that? 139 is the first one? What's going on there? Why is that one attack 139 and then 560? What's up with that? $133. $639, $593, $559. So the throne definitely helps. All right. But that's still a disappointing amount of damage. for that. And the skill is really slow. Now, it may be terrible against the big guy. I'm not picking ideal big body bosses. I mean, this is doing more than that spear did. Seriously. That's pretty disappointing, Mesmer's spear. And it's... I think it's empowered. Let me double check. Yeah, it's plus 10. That's just a pretty disappointing thing. Now, did this actually trigger the multiple attack thing? I didn't even notice if it did. It's not. Did you see that? It's not triggering the multi-hit. Will this do it at least? Yeah, look, it's not... Do you notice? It never triggered... I've got 2 multi-hits up here, and it didn't trigger either one of them. That's interesting. Is it because it's too slow? Here, by contrast, here's the dagger. Got it two-handed. Now this is lightning, not bleed. But watch the body. See, there, it just triggered. Yeah, that alone is an argument against the Smith's Rip Circ. That's a huge loss in potential DPS. Oh yeah, I'd been using bleed on it the whole time. I'll switch back to bleed. I was experimenting with lightning because of the armor that I'm wearing. Yeah, bleed makes these things obscene. Watch this. This is... in my list of weapons that are powerful... By the way, there's no reason for me to be light for this. So we can very easily go back. And I'm going to be medium load. Right? So I've still got my medium roll. And I might be able to push up to light if I change these out. But this will reduce some of the damage that I take. But yeah. There's a bleed. It's crazy. Technically, I didn't roll it onto 14 yet. I'm at the tail end of completion, so technically I'm still 13. Yeah, it's a really hard sale. So the only argument for me, anyway, that would be for why to pick the Circ instead of the dagger. As a thrown, the Smith's Grip dagger is just way better. The argument for the Cirque is not for the thrown part. It would actually be for just using it as... There, see it triggered this way. So for this, it's a good weapon in terms of... There, I pushed forced a bleed. But the problem is every time I do it, I take damage myself. So using it this way, but you'd expect that, right? It's a bigger weapon. There's no talisman. There are talismans that will increase attack power with the Cirque, but it will also work with other weapons. So, for example, if I... hold on. Let's say, for example, I went with... attack power hit point is at maximum. See, now I'm already increased attack power, right? So that will work with any of the weapons that I have as long as I don't take any damage. Or I get back to full health, which will be slightly aided by this. But now... That's not what I'm telling it to do, by the way. I don't know why... I do now. So that, oh, I didn't actually need to do that. I don't think there's any talisman that is unique or highly unique to the Cirque as an item. The typical, right, raises attack power, hit point is low, hit point is max, restores during crit. These are multiple attacks, which the Cirque didn't even trigger when it was being thrown. These are attack power when stuff is in your presence. Defeating an enemy, summon spirit. I've got the, where are they? The roll, dash. These are all special attacks. I don't think any of these... yeah, it's not, those aren't arrows and bolts. So I don't know that there's anything that will specifically help the Cirque that wouldn't also help the thrown item. But this will help the thrown item without helping the Cirque unless I'm throwing it. But more importantly, the Cirque's not triggering either of these if I'm throwing it, this one or this one. And that's a little bit disappointing. And the Spear of the Impaler is just way too slow to trigger those. what's interesting is these don't have synergy together. I would think that they would. Light. Aha! Yeah, it's a bummer that there's no synergy with these two weapons. It means that I'm on my 13th playthrough. So I've beaten the game on this character. Every time you go back through and start a new journey, which is what the game calls it, but players call it NG, new game. The next journey that you do each time gets harder. Most people say that once you get to the 7th new journey, it doesn't get any harder. I don't buy it. I think the scaling still continues. And so it remains difficult. I'm disappointed. I thought these would have synergy. They don't. Whoops. I failed to camp. Okay. The way to beat her is to charge her. Hi, Diana. So the first thing she's usually going to cast is Comet of Azure. What you want to do is run at an angle. So if she's here, run at an angle. Don't run straight at her. And as soon as she goes to blast that spell, you can dive and then immediately sprint straight into her. And you want to stay toe-to-toe with her, or at least you want to stay with her right in front of you as much as possible. When she does the moon, you want to step back just far enough that when the moon starts to come toward you, dive. Go under the moon, and it'll like fly around, and it won't be able to catch up to you. You're welcome. A lot of people try and fight her from afar. She will outcast you 100% of the time. No. Why? Ah! I walked right into that one. Literally. I should have gotten 2 of these. No! Ah! Sorry. Oh, well, thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. I'm looking for inspiration. Oh, here's another one. Uchigatana. This with a bleed is actually rather boss. I still want... Where is it? There we go. I still want unsheathed, but I'm going to do blood. Watch this. I think this is one of the most underrated weapons. No, I don't want the throne anymore. So this is kind of crazy. Whoop. Uchigatana is actually just a fantastic weapon all around. I helped coach a cheerleading team for All-Star Cheer, Diana. This isn't going to turn into an offer to sell art, is it? Moonveil requires more int than I have. I actually prefer Uchigatana. Because Moonveil, you're stuck with exactly what it is. If you're magic and that's your focus, Moonveil is second to none, right? But if you want a bleed build, the amount of bleed that you get with the unsheath on this is actually pretty obscene. But you can always go with a great katana and ash this one up with, right now, yeah, I don't want that. No. That is not what I want. Ash of War, which ash? And I want a shield. This will do what I want. Oh, but these no longer make sense. I'll leave them there for now. Apart from this game, Cyberpunk 2077, well, Elden Ring Convergence, which may as well be a different game, although it's just a mod to this one. Silent, you're asking a good question, and the best answer that I can give you is the scaling is the same regardless of the weapon. It's a question of whether you get synergy with something else. So, for example, Anspur's Rapier comes with Scarlet Rot buildup regardless of what else you put on it. So, if I put poison, I could do blood, in which case I'll get blood buildup, right? I could put poison on it, and now what's going to happen is I'm going to get poison and rot both. Assuming... this, whether or not a cult scales well is actually dependent on the stats you have. That's why you would typically pick different... the reason a cult exists is it gives you basically the same scaling as bleed, but not... Alright, so see how he's got rot on him? When I hit him with this effect, which I failed, See that huge hit he took, and now the rot's gone. So this is what this Ash of War does. And it works with both poison and with rot. So see how he's got poison on him now? Watch, those hits weren't hitting for a whole lot, but watch what happens when I hit him with this Ash of War. See that huge 2,000 hit? It basically does what bleed does, except it'll work with rot and poison, and then it wipes the rot and poison off. Yeah, I don't play a lot of Fortnite. I played a little bit, but it wasn't really my thing. Let me go silent. Let me go back and try and show you what I'm talking about. And you may know this, and I apologize if I'm telling you something that you already know. When you pick an Ash of War, let's say, going with a simple one, let's say Royal Knight's Resolve, which just makes your next attack extra powered. That's all that it does. But everything that tells you what damage your weapon's going to do is right here. And what scaling will give you this result is right here. So the standard, right now I'm just putting on standard just to explain stuff, right? So the standard has the weapon do all physical plus this bonus, right? And then it's a strength dex weapon. If I switch it to heavy, it removes dex, but it adds strength. Now, in my case, my strength is higher than my dex, so that will actually lower the output that I do. So that's not a change that I would want to make. Also notice the guard boost goes down. If I switch to keen, it makes dex more important and strength less. So notice now, I get a little teeny bit better extra damage, but the core damage goes down. So it's not really a good exchange. Quality gives you more bonus and less core damage, and that cranks up both strength and dex. So these are the trade-offs. When you start adding these ones, what happens is you're adding magic damage. Here's what happens. If the boss that you're fighting is immune to magic, that's not going to do any damage. Or if it's highly resistant, that damage is reduced. And by picking magic, your int becomes a key stat. My int is really low, which means my damage is super bad. And the same thing's going to be true for cold, right? Int is the primary scaling. You get a little more strength and dex, but int is the primary scaling. And so I get really terrible bonus damage because the scaling's really bad. And again, guard boost has gone way down, but I get a little extra magic resistance if I'm in guard position. None of these ones are going to have any effect on the Scarlet Rot buildup. When you start picking status effect like poison, blood, cold, these reduce the amount of Scarlet Rot buildup you're going to get. And they add whatever that status effect is. But they also take a different set of attribute scaling. So poison takes from arcane. Blood takes from arcane. And you notice those are basically the same. Notice this number here doesn't change, right? Cold did change it because it now takes from int. Occult really pushes your arcane up. And so if you have a super high arcane, which I happen to have, this goes way up, 3 to 342. That's really good. But now, I don't have any Scarlet Rot buildup. There is no death buildup, right? You can't do death in base game, in DLC. You can't really do death to other creatures. That would be sort of game-breaking. The reason something like Flame Art exists is because Flame Art gives you a faith-based versus fire, right? So notice, I get a faith-based damage here with Flame Art. And you pick basically which of these makes sense for what you're doing. Now, I want to add one little addendum to all of this across the board. It does, but you can add more bleed. So if you go... I got you. So if I go back and pick... I should still have it. And you pick a katana... right? And I'm just going to, for argument's sake, I'm just going to use, well, I'll use Unsheath, right? So normally the blood buildup So normally the blood buildup on this is 45. If I turn it into a, heck, let's do Lion's Claw, right? So Lion's Claw, it's 45. If I add any of these, it doesn't go up. If I add a Cult, bleed only goes up to 88. That's better, right? That's good. And that's if you want to scale with Arcane. But if you go to Blood, it goes up to 115. So you're going to get a better bleed buildup if you're using the Blood rather than a Cult. But you might consider doing Poison, because your blood loss still went up, but now you also get poison with it. So it does scale well, but again, what you want to do is look at these numbers and decide if if bleed buildup is more important. If it is, then you want to pick something that actually jacks up your blood loss. They both use Arcane, so if I go to Blood, and then I'll just put, again, Lion's Claw, and I compare it with a Cult, I'm going to lose some blood loss buildup, but I'm going to get more damage output from each hit. So it's a Cult does scale well, but only if your Arcane is jacked. And mine's jacked. Mine's at 80. My Arcane's basically capped. So, but it does scale well. Here's the thing. I would recommend that you always have, I like to do this with Misericord, is I will take Misericord with Sacred Blade and set it to Sacred. It isn't a great weapon for normal mobs. It's not bad, but it's not great. Silent, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish, right? You're not wrong. I'm just saying it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to get bleed hits as much as often, you want your bleed number as high as possible with the most number of hits. Actually, I talked about this earlier today as a side effect of a different weapon that I have. Oh, great. All right. So notice these are, you know, little 850, whatever, 300. Ah, come on. But that's a pretty decent shot. Oh, I was in range. Whoops. If you hit him in the face, they stop attacking, by the way. It's true with spells, too. If you ever wondered why they suddenly do that face grab, that's why. They hit him in the face. But here's the deal. If we go... Not here. Watch this. $10,000 damage, 6,000 damage, 8,000 damage, and they don't respawn. So there exist synergies with certain abilities and certain weapons that are just obscene. And this is an example. For the things that regenerate, Sacred Blade or similar holy attacks do an obscene amount of damage. And there are things that bleed won't help with, in which case you want better weapon damage and bleed doesn't matter. In that case, occult would definitely be better. It's entirely up to, at least in part, a playstyle question, but also a question of, you know, what you're trying to do. There's, let me see, I don't have it on me anymore. Give you an example. I was playing with this axe. With this rotten great axe. Let me go back down here. And this axe has a blood buildup of 169. These daggers have a blood buildup of 49. Okay, this will become important. So with a 169 buildup, I'm not going to touch anything else. For purposes of showing this, I'm going to go all defense, so I'm a little more survivable. You, this does not do what you think it does. Whatever you think it does, unless you've read it carefully, it doesn't do what you think it does. I'll leave that one on. All right. So I'm just going to do regular attacks. I'm not going to do any goofy. This is the special on this guy, right? So the first hit's going to be, like, obscenely hard. But here's the thing. Right? Whoops. It hits hard, but where's that bleed, right? I finally got a bleed hit, right? So it took a bit, it took a while, eventually I get a bleed, right? So the number's higher, which means each hit is worth more. But now, and again, I don't have the added throw damage or anything like that. Bleed. Oh, I lost my build up there. Yeah. Right out of stamina. That's what I get for not giving myself a stamina break. Oh, there's one other thing. It actually works on horseback, too. There's a bleed hit. What? No, I told it to roll. There was another bleed hit, by the way. There's another bleed hit. Ah, come on. And there's another bleed hit. So even though these build up a lot less bleed per hit, there's a lot more hits. So when you add up number of hits plus bleed, you're going to get more bleed out of a faster weapon if the numbers work that way. So that's very much dependent on what you're doing. Now, keep in mind, the bleed also drops on a boss as well as building up. So that's another thing to consider, is that if you're fighting a boss that you can't keep hitting, you're never going to get bleed built up enough to actually get a bleed hit. You have to keep hitting. That's why Rivers of Blood was so effective, right? Because Rivers of Blood... Hold on. Did I put that one away already? I did. Rivers of Blood, you would typically go, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then you'd build up a ton of blood during that whole sequence. And then you get a bleed hit every 1 or 2 times you use the skill. Problem is that while you're doing that, you're vulnerable to being hit by whatever it is that the thing's going to do. I'm actually not a huge fan of bleed. It's fun, but especially early on, I think it is a crutch. You're better off learning the core mechanics and then add bleed later as a nice thing to have. But anyway, sorry, I've kind of meandered through topics, I guess. I mean, here's another one, right? Got bleed on this. There's a bleed hit. And a bleed hit. So this attacks faster than the axe because it's got Lion's Claw. And that ends up creating a very fast attack sequence by comparison. Another way is with you can get faster attacks with the guard counters. So coming back out. Yeah, the shield's not great for guarding against what this guy does. See how fast that attack came out? It's faster than the typical light attack that you would do. Oh, he busted my shield. No surprise there. Yeah, he's gonna keep breaking through my shield with this little thing. Yeah, so guard counters give you a faster riposte. And that'll help you build up bleed faster. It's interesting the depth to which this game provides so many like little mechanical things to think about. It's actually a reason why, like, I was doing this build for a while. Obviously I have to go with, I think it's, where is it? I think I have to do this one. Yeah. I was actually rolling with this as a build for a while. Or something very similar to it, actually. And the guard on this is obscene. Ah, he busted the shield. Try to let the shield build up. There we go. Yeah, he's not in range for that one. Might be able to do the same. Actually, I wonder if I can put... Never really put this thing through its full tests. I pretty quickly gave up on it. Oh. Will this work? Yep. Oh, sure, fine. There's that bleed hit. I'm unimpressed. Man, I cannot get bleed buildup, or I got a bleed hit, but I couldn't get rot built up on the guy. So that's this not being able to get rot built up, and then by contrast, if I come in with the Anspur's rapier, let me watch this. It's a whole different feel. Ash of War, Anspur's rapier. Alright, watch this. Again, we're back to the speed of attack thing. There's a blood. Now he's rotten. There's another bleed. Oh, he got me. Ow! And there's another bleed. And so the Anspur rapier is more potent than the big, ginormous axe with a massive bleed buildup. I mean, what's there to say? It is what it is. The real question is, this is actually... Oh, of course. I don't even know if anybody's watching anymore. Jesus, Alpha and Omega. Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, you bastard. What's not to love? Anyway, sorry, just wanted that obscene moment. Oh, and the Rune's Greatsword. Some people swear by this. I can't argue with them. The range on it's really long. Is it here? Almost. I don't know. I never fell in love with that one. Bloody Helix is another. This one has this really long range, which can be good and bad. But again, this is pure bleed. There's no rot that you're going to get as a bonus. Yeah. So it's not something that you can actually put a an Ash of War on. It's a somber weapon. Ah. There's finally bleed hit. I actually kind of like the Blood Tax Pike. This is one I did a playthrough with all the way until Consort Radon. And then I had to switch to the Antspur. What was cool about this one is it's a really long range thrusting attack, but Blood Tax gives you a heal back that actually works pretty well. And this one was pretty interesting. Obviously not perfect on all things, but it was pretty good. What I'm debating is what I should do with the next playthrough. Because I can pretty much put any stat I want in.
Now, bear this sweeting.
So 60, there's not really anything higher than 60 is like 6, 12, 18. You're getting 6 hit points per tap. And that keeps, that's 5 is where you're at now. Once you get, I think, to 80. Yeah. It's in the 5s and goes to 4s. You only get 200 hit points going from 60 to 90. It ain't worth it. 45 is as close to a good number as you're ever going to get. 46 for some spell setups might be better. 42 might be adequate. This is more than, unless you're using a talisman, this is more than your flask is going to reload. So having more than this, you're wasting it. You get the FP once in the fight, and that's it. Endurance is purely a question of what armor. So I'm looking at the max equipment load. I know that the stamina goes up very little with these last few points. I'm looking at the max equipment load. That's what matters to me. If this goes to 65, if this goes to 70, this is max casting speed. Can crank this to 80. Crank this to 80. And this is the best int caster staff availability you can have that doesn't eat all your FP. And I can jack my strength I need 49 for the shields that I want. So this would be a high caster build. And then hold on. Okay, let's see. Sort chest. I want one bonk. I want a bonk weapon. Oh, I can't use that anyway. I can use a chicken leg, though. Oh, which is better? That one. I'll play with that later. Alright, staves. Okay, so now that I've got Int and Faith that are super jacked, notice this is 391, and this is 353. If I'm not going to be doing any Dragon Breath, this is going to be the better seal to use. 391 is going to be the most that I'm going to get. 363... Yeah, 288. Yeah, this is going to be the best one I get. I'll carry this just in case I may decide to use some Dragon Breath weapons, but it's the staves that matter. So the sorcery scaling is what you really want to look at. What's nice about the Great Beyond is you can cast both incantations and sorceries with it. So you only need one item and you get everything, but its scaling is less than anything else. But the Prince of Death at 430 is the highest that you're going to get, unless you use... oh, it's even better than Lusat's. Never mind. So 430 is the way to go. Now, if I'm doing a largely caster build, I'm going to want to carry that in case I decide to play with Comet of Azure, because then I'm going to want that huge damage increase. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to pick that up in the middle of a fight. So this is good for offhand. It will give me Moonblade of Adula increase, as well as the other swords. This gives me increased lava sorcery. This gives me increased meteor sorcery. And I don't use any of the other... of course, Carian Regal Scepter for full moon. So I can't have all of these offhand. I have to pick which one I'm going to want at any given moment, but these are the typical ones that you want to have. And invisibility is not bad either. Again, if you're going to do a build that's around it, so having the staves available is a pretty good idea. Shield-wise, I'll use all those. Armor set. This is where stuff gets a little bit more persnickety. So, if I was going to go with Comet of Azure for a build, I'd want that. The Spellblade's Pointed Hat does not work on sorcery. It works on Ashes of War. So if you had an ash on a weapon that does one of the weapon ashes, this will improve it, but it's not worth it. The description does not do it justice. I don't think any of the other ones. There's Salza's Hood is increased int. This reduces the FP you spend. Yeah. I don't think any of them are worth it. Yeah. Alright, so I want Prince of Death Staff main hand. And I want Golden Order Seal main hand. I'm gonna want... I'm gonna use this shield for now. And a sword main hand. Boy, that's a tough one. Can never argue with that. Alright, offhand, I generally go moon and sword. No. Alright, so I want to crank magic. Straight damage. Charged, although I'm not sure I'm going to use any charge spells. Oh, hold on. Alright, spells. Still cast all these. Vow. Okay. Moonblade. Night Comet. Oh, that's actually a pretty sick spell. Oh, and Moon. Of course. Never mind. Oh, that's why. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Oh, thanks for the follow. Watch this. All right. Good old-fashioned. Well, I mean, It obviously, you know, it's a relatively low level creature, but it hits hard. All right. I don't know if I'm going to stick with this journey or if I'm going to start a new character. There comes a point when it's just kind of like obscene. I'm gonna die anyway. Oh, man. Oh, right when I run out of ammo. Yeah, I'm on a PC. Do you play on a PC or do you play on a console? Or just curious? I haven't. I've been playing through. I've been playing through a Convergence, which is actually amazingly fun. Think they did an amazing job with it. Oh, I'm not going to summon myself for the time being. I'm going to summon Telu.
Come to the... Of course you... Unfortunately, without God, you are luckily for me. Are you familiar? You may all that. It will lead... Even if... To castle... The home... It will cast... If you... It will cast... If you seek...
Oh shoot, got the wrong staff. Ow! Wow. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. One of the things that's happened is the AI centers are snapping up the memory that's needed for servers, which is basically, which are basically the same thing as just a computer you have on a desktop. And as a result, the
But I can also that you're not then
like
mine. I am
I bought an obscene amount of memory
Goodbye for now.
for this machine when I built it, because I just wanted to future-proof the machine. I did not realize that memory was going to go to an obscene level. But the... it's crazy. So I bought 128 gigs of RAM, 2 sticks, because I only have 2 sticks on this machine. The other 2 slots are reserved for M.2, an M.2 tower. Anyway, it's painful. I looked up, the same memory that I bought is now over $1,500. It's $1,100 more than it was when I first bought it. And that was like a month and a half later. And that's entirely due to the AI centers building everything.
You? I can play turning root to 80. You need to the foot. Then
Yes,
summon
you can be my maiden.
Torrent. Treat him with...
Little hint, if you haven't played the game before, you're thinking about it, as soon as you have this interaction, just immediately teleport back to the church that you came from, Church of Ele, and when it's nighttime, and you'll get this NPC.
May I have a word? I am the word. I'd heard and upon the talk thou art but call for. I was instructed torrents to summon them the spirit. Now it is that. I doubt we. How long will it before the tarnish?
And NVIDIA basically announcing that they're going to massively drop the amount of video cards that they're building. It's really kind of the same sort of thing. Come on. The prices on video cards, which are already obscenely high, is just going to go up even higher. And most people, unless you're running like 4 monitors, you don't need that much. You don't need the video card that they want you to buy. I'm using a 5080, and I think with this game at max settings, I'm not even using half the card. Oh, hold on, I want to talk to her. And I want to get this. Need more of those.
Everyone who only to have did you know it's quite a you've been heading to entice well that but I don't have it's scary. I want to on nothing. Can you tell? And it'll be glad tell them I'm finally get
Anyway, so this machine that I bought right now would be $2,000 or $3,000 more, and that hasn't happened in the computer business in pretty much forever. Consoles, what they can do basically, and what they've started doing is the companies that make the consoles buy what are actually highly specialized CPUs. They'll still say, oh, it's a whatever, it's a i7 blah blah blah, but then you'll notice at the end if they tell you that it's like a HQX or something, which basically means they burned off all the stuff worth having on the thing. So it's for the most part a junky version of a CPU. Anyhow, and then they only have to push to a typical television, which now 4K, but they only have one of them, right? So, but they were originally consoles were pushing to TVs that were a fourth the size of a 4K. Doesn't matter what the physical size is, matters what the resolution is. Anyway.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins.
I'll show you as soon as this fight's over. So, actually, I can't show you exactly. Okay, if you picture the, because I just reset the game, if you picture the northernmost part of the DLC, there's a place called Telu's Forge. It's like Telu's blah blah Forge or whatever, Forge of Telu, something like that. You get it in there. It's kind of obscure, so if you can't find the path to get there, go to YouTube, type Telu. You'll find a guide on how to get there. I was testing you. Now I can take you to the round table hold.
Torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering. Let my hand.
Let my hand rest upon you. How much FP do I have? Well, it's my mind is 45. I'd have to actually look at 268. I mean, it's only set to 45. Oh. 138. 138.
You there? Come. It's tightly hooked. The guard you breached. Well, but of course. The guard you'll slip. Of course, when you appear its own. The guard you'll slip. Of course, when you appear. The gates! Open the gates! Oi! What's it to you? Step back, damn it all! Why is it always me? What did I do to deserve?
So, you can use him to buy an ancient dragonstone if you do the quest lines correctly. I don't need any more. I have 36. However, he shouldn't steal my runes anymore. I'm pretty sure this guy's out of range. But we'll give it a try. He's like, did I hear something? Oh, I didn't want to pick that up. I always forget. Oh, no. Throw at the barrels. Thank you. Alright, cute little trick. You can use this in other places too. But if you actually are careful about standing in the door and dropping a glowstone, excuse me, into the room when this next part happens. Now, here's the key. Normally if you go in here, you may not have noticed before, but when the door slams shut and latches, you'll hear a hee 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 hee. That may not be here now. I'm curious. I never paid attention before, but that's supposed to be Gostock, the guy that I killed at the beginning, that does that. So he may be dead now. Yep. So because he's dead, that trap doesn't happen. So proof that that's who it is. In case you were curious. And that's why... God. I haven't fallen down that in about forever. God. To do all that again. Yep. That's obnoxious. Yeah. Gravity's the one boss you can't really do much about. Do, 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 do. sure. Oh. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to get through that part. That's just one of them. There's a few other ways to kind of wind your way through the whole thing. I'm trying to skip as much as I can. I've been through this place enough that I just have no desire to dig my way back through. Seriously. Jesus. Oh my god. That's just obscene.
Be proud. Well, tarnished, I am I'm hereby declare how utter this graft is tainted. If I ask you, the winds run far. I'm certain, Father.
It's been a while since I did a caster build. Still getting used to switching weapons and all that. I probably don't need another one of those, but why not? Alright. Now let's see what damage we can do to this guy. Alright. Let's see. I don't need that. That's just not doing anything for me. That will. And I don't need to... Alright. Let's do this. Oh, gotta summon Nephili. But, you know what you do when you summon Nephili, Lou? You summon another one. We're going to be twinning today. Ah, hell.
I am the Lord of all that is golden, and one day we'll return to
I don't think so.
to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
And no Gostic. I'm not gonna cry about that. Shivery Grape. I think they limit the number of those that you get too. Yeah. They reset that every time you start a new game. Here's something else you may not have known while I work my way toward. You can actually jump your way up there if you really want to. I don't, so I'm not going to because I want to show you something else. So these creatures are super vulnerable to heals. Healing spells do massive damage to these guys. Did you know that? But that's not what's actually really important. What's really important is the other creature that is super vulnerable to heal spells. So you got these. But forget that. Get this going. Just for giggles, can get this going. Gonna load you back up. But more importantly, that guy is vulnerable to heal spells, which makes them super easy. Now I'm using Heal from Afar, which is a super good healing spell. Best in every respect. Most efficient, plus you can heal much further away, blah blah blah. But yep. I didn't even know that until maybe New Game 7, I think. Something like that. So if you have to run through this area and you know that the flowers are going to start casting at you, just put an object between you and them, and the shards that they cast at you, they'll hit whatever the barrier is. I tried all kinds of like serpentine and trying to sprint my way through and all that. None of that works. I mean, it works, but it's way easier just to get something behind you. There's also a... There it is. I often skip this and I shouldn't. Rats. Tish? Bad guys over here. Tish, what are you doing? hell was Tish doing that whole time? Look. What are you doing, Tish? What's going on? I guess so. Yes, the only advantage... So, the ice effect increases the damage they take from other things. The only advantage is the ice buildup, and then once it does the buildup, it goes boom, right? That's when you get the extra damage bump. Once you've done that, you can apply fire to get the frost effect off. But the next frost buildup is going to take longer, and you're not getting any extra damage until you get the frost buildup again. So you're better off getting... It depends. It depends. But you're better off getting frost built up and then switching... Let that allow other things to do more damage. But yeah, fire certainly wipes it off. But I've actually found that to be problematic. If I know that I'm going to be doing frost stuff, I'll get rid of the fire, and vice versa. Anyway. Alright, back to here. What time is it? I gotta call it a night. I'll get up to the top here. I'm not sure, Samuel. I mean, thousands, if not millions, of people play the game, so I suppose pretty good. I don't know. Now, if we were in the same spot, like if that was you stopping here on 13, that'd be pretty cool. Don't let the PB and chase bite. I will hopefully not to. Thank you all for being here for the show. I appreciate you being here. Please like and follow. Please come back. I will try and answer questions as best I can and purvey information, and I will even occasionally drop some cheerleading stuff when people ask. Videos and whatnot. Anyway, be excellent, and I will see you guys later.